might be our only draft video for the entirety of the 2024 NFL season, but we all watch college football on Saturdays, and you guys, there's a bunch of players that are playing, but which ones could potentially be future Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, today I'm going to be breaking down a lot of the top draft prospects for the 2025 NFL draft that you guys should be keeping your eye on here because they could end up being first-round picks for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. I'm also one of our lead draft analysts here at Chat Sports. So if you want draft coverage, draft analysis, Steelers coverage every single day as well, you guys can follow me on X at Jack_Sperry. Really do appreciate your guys' support on there. Then also Steelers Talk has a brand new official IG page. So if you guys want short form content from us here at Steelers Talk outside of this YouTube channel, you guys can go find us on IG at Steelers CS. So first up here, let's talk wide receivers, okay? And obviously the Steelers could be trading for somebody at the trade deadline. Who knows what this wide receiver room is actually going to look like come next offseason. But right now, it's pretty obvious that, I think that they could still use some help. Now, maybe Roman Wilson, by season's end, can solidify himself as a number 2 option. But unless he does that, which right now he's not playing, so there's certainly a possibility that he doesn't do that, the Steelers will definitely be in need of a number 2 receiver that can play right away. So I do think it's important for Steelers fans to be watching out for some of the top receivers in the country this year. So let's talk about some of those top players. Let's start with Coops, Texas Longhorns here. Isaiah Bond, very, very good route runner. I think it may be a little bit undersized for what Arthur Smith wants, 180 pounds. But, man, this guy can freaking scoot. He is fast. He is very shifty. Very reliable receiver as well. This guy is shooting up draft boards right now because he is an absolute demon in Steve Sarkisian's offense there in Austin. So keep your eye on Isaiah Bond. Then Emeka Egbuka here from Ohio State, a name that has been thrown around on draft boards here the last now 3 seasons. He has stuck around there at Ohio State. He's inside-outside versatile. He plays in the Big Ten. Obviously, Ohio State likes to run the football too, so he can run block a little bit. Very smooth route runner, very smooth athlete. I think that, especially if the Steelers are a playoff team, Emeka Egbuka is a name to really keep your eye on here for the Pittsburgh Steelers because I think he's going to probably go more into like the mid to late teens, early 20s, and that might be where the Steelers are picking this year. And then, if you're drafting top 15, God forbid if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, Luther Burden III is somebody that I think is going to go high. And honestly, these top 3 guys are probably going to go top 15, if not top 10. Luther Burden III, just an insane talent out of Missouri, can really do it all. And same thing with Ted Aurora, McMillan out of Arizona. I mean, McMillan takes it to a whole nother level, in my opinion, with the crazy catches and all this stuff. But Luther and McMillan are both guys that bring good size, great route running, very complete wide receivers. This class isn't quite as good at the top as it was with last year with Roma Dunze and Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., but Luther Burden III and Ted Aurora McMillan are 2 guys that are relatively close to those guys in my opinion. Then the top guy to watch, of course, is Travis Hunter. Now the question with Travis is going to be whether he plays corner or wide receiver at the next level. Now, obviously, we hope that the Steelers aren't in position to take Travis Hunter because he's probably going to go in the top 10 in the draft. So we really hope the Steelers aren't in that situation. But I think if Pittsburgh did draft him, it would probably be as a wide receiver. With Joey Porter Jr. being the number 1 guy in the Steelers defense, you don't really need a true lockdown corner. On the opposite side of JPJ, a guy like Dante Jackson does just fine. So, I think Hunter might want to be a receiver when he gets to the league because he can make more money at that position. And then also, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you have Travis Hunter as a receiver, you can still put him in at cornerback in certain big spots, all right? Like if you have a situation or you're going up against a team, 3rd downs, you have 2 really good receivers that you're going up against, you want to go man coverage. I mean, Travis Hunter is arguably even a better corner than he is a receiver, which is crazy because Hunter is arguably the best receiver in college football right now. Now, like I said, guys, hopefully Pittsburgh isn't in play for him. He's probably going to be a top 10, if not top 5 pick in this year's NFL draft. So Pittsburgh is usually never drafting in that kind of area. After a good start to this season, I really don't expect the Steelers to be drafting in that top 10 area, but still fun to keep your eye on these guys. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. What should Travis Hunter's primary position be in the National Football League? Do you think it should be cornerback type CB, or do you think it should be wide receiver type RW down there in the comment section? If you think you should play both, type B for me down there in the comment section. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. In just a second here, we're going to be talking about the next position, which is running back. And YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pin question. So next position that we want to talk about here is running back, because right now the Steelers have Najee Harris and they have Jaylen Warren, and both of these guys are slated to be free agents next offseason. Now, Najee is an unrestricted free agent because the team declined his fifth-year option, whereas Jaylen Warren is a restricted free agent, so they can extend him a qualifying offer. There's another team that offers more. The Steelers will have the opportunity to match it and still bring him back. So I still think Jaylen Warren is a restricted free agent. The Steelers will pretty much pay what they need to keep him in-house. All right, but with Najee, I think he's a little bit more expendable because Jaylen, when healthy, is more explosive than Najee is. So I think that Najee could be out the door. And if you just have Jaylen Warren, that means that number 2 running back spot could be open. And there's some very special running backs in this year's draft class coming up. We'll start with Ollie Gordon II. If you guys play College Football 25, all these names are going to be very, very apparent to you guys. College Football 25, Ollie Gordon is just absolutely insane. But, in real life, this guy is really good, too. He's been one of the best running backs in college football for a very long time. He brings a great combination of size, speed, and agility, along with vision. This is somebody that I think is going to be a very good pro in the National Football League. Would you take him in the first round? Maybe not, but maybe in the second round if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd certainly think about it. But now, with Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State, now you get into the guys that I think will be in the conversation for round 1. And obviously Judkins, if you've played College Football 25, he's got that incredible spin move where he doesn't stop, and it's just unstoppable, all right? So Judkins is a really, really good player, another guy that brings good size with good speed and agility. I'm very excited about his NFL future. I think he's going to be really good right out of the gate. But how could you pick anybody other than Ashton Jeanty, man? This guy is just having an unbelievable start to his 2024 campaign. He's played in 4 games to this point, and he has 13 touchdowns. I mean, goodness gracious, that is good. Just 82 carries, 145 yards. He's averaging a first down a carry, folks. First down a carry for a running back, all right? We haven't seen these kinds of numbers since the glory days of the running back in college football. It's absolutely unbelievable to see this guy play the position. And, some people are projecting him as high as a top 10 pick. So right now, if the Steelers are really looking for a game-changing running back in this, what they want to be a very run-heavy offense, I think that Ashton Jeanty makes a lot of sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially if they clear up some of the other holes on their roster in free agency before they make their first-round selection in the 2025 NFL Draft. So coming up here on Steelers Talk, more potential draft targets for your Pittsburgh Steelers at other potential positions of need. But before we get into that, let's have word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And guys, we all know that experiencing a sporting event, especially a football game live, is unlike anything you can get from watching the game on your couch. Game Time Picks is a brand new feature from our friends at Game Time, which filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. What I love about using the Game Time app is they get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event. All-in pricing so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. It's just for that first purchase, guys. But again, create an account with Game Time today and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So now let's talk a little bit here about offensive tackle. And I know I can already hear you groaning at home. Jack, we've just taken 2 offensive tackles in a row in the first round in the last 2 NFL drafts. And I completely hear your guys' argument on that. All right, but Dan Moore Jr., the current starter at left tackle here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is a free agent in 2025 coming up here. And I'm not sure if the Steelers are going to bring him back. All right, now maybe after a really good season this year, the Steelers consider bringing him back. We'll see what happens with Broderick Jones and Troy Fautano and all these different things that need to be worked out. And, I'd really hate to do it because you've spent a big-time draft pick on Broderick Jones. But if he has a disastrous, and I'm talking about disastrous 2024 season where you can't trust him to make that move over to the left side of the offensive line next season, you might consider taking another offensive tackle to go alongside Troy Fautano, and then either you completely give up on Broderick Jones, which I really hope doesn't happen after just year 2, or maybe you consider moving him to guard. There's lots of possibilities there, but I'm not going to completely rule out that the Steelers are looking for another offensive tackle heading into next year's NFL draft. So the top ones to watch out for here, Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Very toolsy player, maybe still a little bit raw, but he's somebody to keep your eye on. Emory Jones Jr. is the right tackle there out of LSU, still a little bit raw as well, but great physical tools again. Ariante Ursary out of Minnesota. Sky Uma, row the boat, go Gophers. This guy is a physical freak. He moves well. He's got long arms. He's got everything that you look for, man. And he's had a really, really good start with the Gophers there with P.J. Fleck up in Minneapolis. He is a high riser right now. I think he's probably going to be a top 15 pick. Then we get to Will Campbell, left tackle for the LSU Tigers. I would love to see him in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform. Very polished. Very, very, I would say NFL ready is what I would call Will Campbell at this point. And then Kelvin Banks Jr., Coops guy out of Texas. Very good player as well. Very ready to go, in my opinion. And, if the Steelers end up landing any of these guys, I'll be sad that you have to spend 3 straight years drafting offensive tackle in the first round of the NFL draft. But, hey, you got to do what you got to do. And if it comes to pass here where the Steelers need an offensive tackle, any of these 5 guys in the first round I think would do just fine. So subscribe today to Steelers Talk for daily Steelers videos, breaking down the latest news and rumors surrounding the black and gold, breaking news coverage whenever a big trade happens, a signing, injury updates, instant reaction to every Steelers game, all that great stuff. It's all 100% free. We are now the largest individually run Steelers news channel here on YouTube. Over 61,000 Steelers fans already subscribed to our channel. So help us get to 70K right now by clicking that subscribe button and joining our family. So the last position that I want to talk about today is quarterback. And once again, I can hear you groaning at home. Jack, we got Justin Fields. He's the guy. And honestly, guys, I honestly think that Justin Fields has a very good chance to be the guy, all right? And before you freak out on me here, yes, there's a very significant chance that Justin Fields signs a second contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if that happens, they're not going to be taking a quarterback in the first round. Okay, so I'm going to upfront say that, by the time that the draft rolls around and by the time the season's over, this list is not going to matter to Steelers fans. But at this point, nothing is guaranteed for Justin Fields. We haven't seen him play the entire season. And if down the stretch he begins to struggle, he begins to show signs that he's not the long-term answer for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steelers don't have long-term commitments to either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, so it's still a possibility out there that the Steelers could be looking for a first-round quarterback in 2025. And it is good to know these guys' names. It's good to know which guys fit with your offense and all these different things, just in case, all right? So when you're watching college football here on Saturdays, you know which guys to be watching out for, at least in my opinion. So let's start with my number 5 quarterback to watch out for here, Miller Moss. All right, and Miller is somebody that has really impressed me in Lincoln Riley's offense to this point. He's a really good anticipatory thrower, and there's just something about Lincoln Riley, man, that gets these quarterbacks ready to play or relatively ready to play in the NFL. With all the progressions and all the responsibility that the quarterback has in that system, in that air raid system, there's something about it that gets these quarterbacks ready to go. And Miller Moss has been relatively impressive to start his career there with the Trojans. I think he would fit well in this offense here in Pittsburgh if called upon, especially if he continues to have a good season at USC. Definitely a name to monitor if you're a Steelers fan. Then Drew Aller is my number 4 quarterback. Now, I will completely acknowledge that Aller had a really bad season last year, still relatively raw. And if you draft him, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers early, he might be sitting for a little bit. All right. But this guy has the arm to make it work in Pittsburgh, man. If it's windy, if it's cold, if it's rainy out, this guy has the arm that can cut through that wind. And he makes some incredible throws that you just cannot believe on film, man. Reminds me a little bit of Drake May in that way from last year where he's got an incredible arm, just makes incredible plays, man. And, is it a bit inconsistent at this point? Yes, but he's had a much, much better start to this campaign here in 2024 than he had last year with the Nittany Lions. So I think that Aller is somebody that's been written off a little bit in draft circles as of late. But I think if he continues to have a good 2024 season, Drew Aller is somebody that could be on the Steelers' radar moving forward. Number 3 on my list is Shedeur Sanders. Now, who knows? Maybe Prime says, I don't want my boy going to Pittsburgh. And if that's the case, he's not going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, most likely. Not sure if I love the leadership qualities. I'm not sure if I love the personality and all the antics that go with Shedeur Sanders, the watch, all this different stuff with Shedeur. But on film, he's a pretty darn good quarterback prospect, man. He's tough as nails. He's played with adversity in college. A lot of these top quarterbacks, man, they come in playing behind really solid offensive lines, excellent weapons, and then great defenses as well to help them out. In Colorado, he's had none of that except for Travis Hunter, all right? Terrible offensive line play. Outside of Hunter, not the best receiver talent either. He's had to overcome a lot, and he is somebody that's definitely very, very tough. He sticks in the pocket. He is accurate. He's got good arm strength. He's a good playmaker. He can make things happen out of structure. He is a good quarterback, but I'm not sure if I want him as my franchise face. Then we get to Jalen Milroe here at Alabama, who obviously just had that great, unbelievable performance against the Georgia Bulldogs. He ran all over the place. He's a bigger body that can run and be a true dynamic rushing threat. The big question for Jalen has always been, can he do it with his arm? And to this point, with the Alabama Crimson Tide, he has done that to some degree. I mean, just last week, 27 of 33 against one of the nation's best defenses, over 370 yards passing and 2 passing touchdowns. This guy is a really good player. Right now, a lot of people have already risen Milroe up to their number 1 spot on their list, and for good reason. If he keeps going and he wins the Heisman Trophy this year, I'd expect this guy to be the first quarterback off the board this season. But for now, I do have Cam Ward number 1. And the reason why I have Cam Ward number 1 is he makes everything look so easy, man. Coop says he looks nonchalant, and he doesn't like that. But, it just comes out of his arms so smoothly. He understands how to read defenses. He never, ever gets flustered. And that is something that I highly covet in a quarterback, especially a quarterback coming into a situation potentially like the Pittsburgh Steelers, where there's going to be a ton of pressure. So you want a guy that's not going to get flustered, not going to get rattled, moment's not going to be too big for him, and the arm talent on this guy, not to mention the rushing ability, it's pretty darn impressive, man. I think that this guy's going to be a pretty darn good NFL quarterback. Obviously, he still has a whole season of tape to put out there, but I'm loving what I'm seeing out of the Miami Hurricane quarterback, and that's why he is my number 1 guy as of right now. But again, hopefully the Steelers aren't in a position where they can draft him, right? Because you hope that Justin Fields is going to be the guy. If I'd have to guess, I'd say 80, 85, 90+% chance Justin Fields is going to be the guy here in Pittsburgh heading into the 2025 season. But it is worth noting which guys I think would fit best with the Pittsburgh Steelers. A couple of honorable mentions here. Quinn Ewers from Texas and Carson Beck out of Georgia. Beck's draft stock has dropped significantly since that game against Bama where he looked completely flustered. And then Ewers, man, I really like his skill set. I like his arm talent. But I do think that he benefits a bit from being in Steve Sarkisian's offense. We saw Mac Jones be one of the best quarterbacks in college football history in that offense with excellent talent around him. I'm a little bit worried Quinn Ewers is going to suffer a similar fate in the National Football League, especially if he doesn't find the right fit. So let me know down there in the comments section, who is the best QB in this 2025 class? Is it Jalen Milroe? Is it Cam Ward? Is it somebody else? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Can't wait to see some of the answers you give me down there in the comments. And then a little bit of an honorable mention here. We didn't go over safeties, but Malachi Starks out of Georgia is an unbelievable player. He can play in the slot for the Steelers right away next year, and then he can work his way into either free safety or strong safety in the future, whether that's Minka leaving, whether that's Sean Elliott leaving eventually. But Malachi Starks, if you have an opportunity to draft that guy at a value, I would say definitely pull the trigger because this guy is a special, special football player. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button. I know it was a little bit of a longer video today, but I really do appreciate all the real ones making it to the end of today's video. Now you know all the top college football players as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan that you should be watching out for. This will probably be the last draft video that we do for quite a while because the Steelers are playing quite well right now. But make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now to never miss any of our Steelers coverage.